Because it's true. His law firm, Court and Associates, represented Stanford for many years. He saw nothing.
Up to now.
Up to now. Being retained.
25,000 years ago.
It's all hunky-dory, Madam Speaker. Now all of a sudden, out of blue, beautiful skies, we have this mad rush to cooperate with the US authorities by doing, Madam Speaker, what not even the US authorities themselves are prepared to do at this stage. That is the point. They are doing what not even the United States authorities are prepared to do at this stage. I'm not saying later down. But let the due process take place. If he's convicted, so be it. If there are criminal charges against him, so be it. But let due process take place. The civilized world, Madam Speaker, prides itself on the principle of innocent until proven guilty. At least in our jurisdiction, in our common law, which is 1,000 years old of jurisprudence. And he knows that. Criminal. But the parliament of this country, Madam Speaker, of Antigua and Barbuda, the highest decision-making body in the land, is being asked today to strip Stanford of his assets. And forget about Stanford. Because it could be you. It could be me. It could be you. It could be them. It's irrelevant that it's Alan Stanford. But they are stripping him of his assets, suffocating local business operations. Business operations, Madam Speaker, that have no legal connection to the United States action. None. Before a court of competent jurisdiction, which deliberates and decides on the charges against him. Not us. And let's forget, as I've said, Madam Speaker, the name Stanford. The principle is what we're dealing with here today. And I say, Madam Speaker, the principle is wrong. And they know it's wrong. You cannot use the power of the state to deprive anybody of property. It's enshrined in our Constitution. Even as they're waiting on a court to decide on the charges of misconduct that have been brought against them. A few days ago, Half Moon Bay is a different situation. Oh God, learn and listen now. How you going to compare Half Moon Bay to this? Half Moon Bay, it was closed down. It was defunct. The workers were sent home. They were not paid.
You will not learn, eh?
You will never learn. You can really have the gall and gumption to compare Half Moon Bay to this? If you were in my class, I'd give you 3 demerits.
Expel him.
And expel him immediately. Of course, for dunceness. Madam Speaker, a few days ago, Prime Minister Winston Baldwin Spencer, he told the New York Times, and I'm going to quote it, he told the New York Times, Antigua leader vows cooperation with U.S. investigation of its banks. And I quote, we are prepared to cooperate fully with the Americans in probing this whole affair. End of quote. He added that the scandal has serious implications for the offshore banking sector. Madam Speaker, what he obviously did not realize is that his acknowledgement countered statements only last week by local bank regulators that the financial system in Antigua was absolutely clean. Do you know that, Mr. Prime Minister? Do you know that your local bank regulators said that the financial system in Antigua was absolutely clean? But does that sound to you, Madam Speaker, like a government that has its head on and knows what it's doing? Come on. We are being told, Madam Speaker, that this UPP government is concerned that Antigua's economy, which is already hurting from a downturn in the global financial meltdown, could suffer further from a financial breakdown. But you see, Madam Speaker, the truth of the matter, Madam Speaker, could you ask the member to keep quiet?
Honourable Member for Rural North, please do not interrupt the member speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Because it's only a vendetta. It's a vendetta against Stanford. The UPP seems to be forgetting that the United States mission is not to help you. It's to close down the entire offshore industry, the entire offshore banking operations, not just in Antigua, but in the world. Do you understand that? Do you understand what is being sought here by the United States government? Oh, of course, but they know. They know it, you know. They understand, Comrade Leader, but they don't want to accept.
Honourable Member, you're speaking to me.
Pardon me?
You're supposed to be speaking to me.
Sorry, Madam Speaker.
Yes, that's right.
It's all, Madam Speaker, about ensuring that wealthy United States citizens will have no choice but to keep their monies under the purview of the U.S. Tax Authority, the IRS. Madam Speaker, the implications for Antigua and Barbuda economy are severe. Yes, it's severe. We all agree it's severe. But as usual, Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, brings... You having your own meeting over there?
Sorry.
The implications, Madam Speaker, are severe. But the Prime Minister has no vision. He's not innovative. He has never been. He has never been creative once in the last 5 years. He cannot be creative in thinking to table what he's tabling today in the public interest. It's all about pettiness. It's all about vendetta. And that's all he's capable of, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, on this point about the offshore dimension of the economy, as it relates to this matter, I want to quote our leader, Lester Bird, who always seems to be so far ahead in his vision for the benefit of Antiguans and Barbudans. And Madam Speaker, the reality is Lester Bird was quoted in today's edition of the Antigua Sun newspaper. And I quote, "I see the government is seeking to use this SEC investigation as an opportunity to take back all the land from Mr. Stanford. I want to be sure that in the process of doing that, they don't throw out the baby with the bathwater." He continues to tell you what it means. He continues, Mr. Prime Minister, to tell you what it means. And I quote, "The SEC is totally opposed to the offshore financial services offered by the country, and in that vein would do anything to bring it to the ground. Would do anything to bring it to the ground." He continues, Lester Bird, today in Antigua Sun, and I quote, "I have not slept, I've done my homework. Burning the midnight oil, this is one of the most important days in the history of this country." And I quote, Antigua Sun today, "In this case, there must be some presumption of innocence, and just because allegations are made..." You ask what that means, Mr. Prime Minister, now you're not listening. Or you don't care. The presumption of innocence. Madam Speaker,